Everyone, Dr. Josh Matson here with Infinity Chiropractic Center. I'm going to talk to you guys about sensory issues, what creates a lot of sensory issues. We see a lot of kids with neurodevelopmental disorders, a lot of kids with all kinds of issues, but something that is really, really common within that group is sensory issues. So I'm going to kind of talk about that. There's an area of your brain, it's called your basal ganglia. It sits really deep in your brain. It is responsible for pretty much gating and what that means is we're looking for organizing information that comes in. It slows down information that's coming in from your sensory systems. So if your basal ganglia isn't functioning well, what happens is when you get sensory information in, or a kid gets sensory information in, they're not able to control the amount that's allowed into their brain, or they're not able to regulate the amount that's coming into their brain. So me talking at this amount, maybe like I'm screaming my head off at someone. The volume gets turned way up. They're not able to dampen that volume down because their basal ganglia isn't functioning well. You'll see this in a lot of kids that have symptoms of, they have outbursts all the time. They have sensory issues where they're sensitive to their shirt and stuff like that. They're sensitive to loud noise or light, or those types of things are really sensitive to. It's because their basal ganglia isn't regulating that appropriately. So kind of a good example of that is, like let's say you're wearing a necklace, right? You have a necklace on all day. By the time that you get to, you have it on 10 minutes or 5 minutes or, maybe even a minute, whatever it is, you don't even realize that you're wearing it anymore. What happens is it's because your basal ganglia is regulating that information coming in. It's not important anymore. You have it on, your brain goes, oh, it's not important, it's trivial, we don't need to worry about it. Well, if your basal ganglia isn't functioning well, for a kid, they have that feeling that it's on all the time, like especially with their shirts, with tags, they feel it all the time, where someone whose their basal ganglia is functioning well, they can regulate that information, say it's trivial, it's no big deal. So that's why a lot of sensory issues are really, really difficult right now. So we're going to talk to you about why the basal ganglia isn't functioning well, why it doesn't develop well in a lot of kids. Biggest reason is the frontal areas of your brain, along with another area called your cerebellum. They kind of work together to help regulate this area of your brain. If those are underdeveloped, your basal ganglia can't function well, and then you start seeing all those symptoms. So why do kids have underdeveloped frontal lobes and cerebellums? It's because those develop through movement. Appropriate, normal neurological movements help to develop those areas of the brain. A lot of kids that have food sensitivities, it'll dysregulate that area. A lot of kids that don't crawl on time, a lot of kids that don't create appropriate movement strategies in the first years of life, you'll have developmental issues with that. There can be a lot of genetic stuff. There can be infections that can create it. But my goal with every patient is to figure out why those systems never developed, and then implement a strategy to help them to develop more efficiently. So if you have any questions on that, it's a quick synopsis of sensory issues. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to help anyone. Have an awesome day.